having that attention to the little things on the inside as well goes a long way to making sure that you're building that value in your agency and having something that you're proud of at the end of the day.
Welcome to the Insurance Refocused podcast, where we're highlighting real agent stories and how they are innovating to respond to the changes and challenges happening in the independent insurance industry. My name's Lindsay, and I can't wait to introduce you to my amazing co-host, who just so happens to be my mom, Carey Wallace. Mom, how you doing today?
Linz, man, I am having a fantastic day. I can tell you it was incredibly productive day, and I'm feeling pretty good. I hope you are too. How's your day going?
I'm doing good. We're ticking closer to the wedding date. I'm going to have to figure out something else to talk about on the intro of our podcast, because I swear just every time we record a podcast, I'm figuring something else out. So I've got like 3 more episodes in me, and then I have to find a new personality after that.
I can't believe it's only 3 more podcasts. That's nuts. It's absolutely nuts.
I know. But I'm super pumped about today. Today's guest is someone who I've, orbited in the same circle as for a long time. I feel like we're just pushing through all of our North Carolina friends. We have like a list of all of our North Carolina friends, and as we see them at events and talk to them, we're just picking them off the list. So I'm super pumped today to travel back to North Carolina. I know we're not actually in North Carolina, but it feels like we're just like hanging out, having a chat at one of the Big I North Carolina conferences. So Jessica, so glad to have you on today.
Great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, when we ran into each other at the Agency Leaders Executive Retreat, I saw you from across the room and I thought to myself, how have we not had her on our podcast yet? Like, I feel like you're one of like the core people that when I'm in North Carolina, I always, make a round to talk to, and I can't believe we haven't even had you on yet.
Oh,
so
well,
it's perfect.
That here I am. Glad to be here.
So Jessica, for the listeners, will you give us just how did you get into the industry and how long have you been around?
Yeah, so that's a funny story, I guess. It's maybe similar in many ways to other people who have found themselves in the insurance industry, in that it's never what I planned to do. Mm-hmm. So my prior career, my past life, I was the manager of a company that was in the interior design industry. So we made custom window treatments and upholstery and bedding and fun, pretty things for houses. And I thought I had a path lined up there. And in reality, things didn't turn out quite the way that I had anticipated. And I was ready to make a change. But I didn't really know exactly what I wanted to do. And so I had actually at that time been working in one town, got married, moved to a different town, was making a 30-minute commute. And I thought, well, let me just at least see what's close to home, because that right there would be like an instant raise if I got some time back in my day. And so I literally went on a Google search and I said Mocksville jobs. And there was like factory workers, restaurant workers, truck drivers. I'm like, I'm not that person for any of this. But then there was a customer service position at Johnson Insurance. And I read the position description. I was like, well, I think I can do that. I think I can learn what I need to learn. And I have the basic essentials of what they say they're looking for, but let's give this a whirl and see what happens. So they hired me in 2014 in the summer, and I came in as a customer service rep. And shortly thereafter, things started to evolve. And we had been working with a consultant at the time. You might have heard of Mary Eisenhart. She was helping us with some processes and operational improvements. And she was like, you need a cheerleader. You need a team captain that's going to lead the charge from the front lines on these changes that we're implementing. And they picked me for that. So within a year, I think at about 9 months of being on the job, they promoted me to operations manager to lead that. That we were tackling going paperless at that time. That was the big project. And over the years, I've just progressed through, was operations manager, vice president of operations, COO, and now I'm a co-owner of the agency.
That's amazing. That is absolutely amazing. I got to tell you, Jessica, our stories are a little bit like similar.
Really?
Because, my first job back, I took a big break to raise my girls, and I did the same thing. I'm like, all right, I need something close to home. I really don't want to have a massive job. I want a little baby job, actually. And I looked for someone in the skill set that would have some financial background. And I applied for an accounting manager job at a state association near me. It was like 2 miles from my house. And I only wanted to work from 10 in the morning until 2 in the afternoon when the girls are in school. So I have a daughter with some special needs, and I thought I just still need to be available. And that little baby job became a really big job very, very quickly. I moved up the ranks. I never became, an owner of that organization, but now I own my own. But I love, love, love hearing stories like that. I'm not a feminist by any stretch of the imagination, but in a male-dominated industry, hearing that kind of story is pretty impressive. It truly is. And you guys run an incredible agency, no two ways around that. Tell me about the operations role, because oftentimes there's a void in that role in a lot of agencies. So tell me what it's like to be in that role and the impact that you think that it makes by having a strong operations lead.
Yeah, so I have to give huge props to Bill Johnson, who's the former owner, who, when he retired, that gave me the opportunity to buy in, because he also had a very open-minded approach to what does perpetuation planning look like. And he looked outside of the traditional only employee, only producer employees, and only family members as part of his search for who would be the people that carry on his legacy. And he saw the importance of the operations role for being so critical to maintaining and building the value of the asset of the agency. The sales team is out there making promises, as they should be, and they're bringing the customers in the door. But if the team on the inside isn't able to fulfill the promises or give some sort of bad taste in the customer's mouth, it doesn't take long before that reputation gets around. Your reputation is going to get around one way or another. Is it going to be a good one or a bad one, right? But your operations team is really what's going to make sure that you have that positive impression in your community and among your client base. So from the customer-facing aspect, operations is incredibly important. But then, of course, internally as well. If you are looking for ways that you can be efficient, if you're using technology wisely, if you're not wasteful in the different things that, you subscribe to this and you subscribe to that, and you before you know it, you've just spent all your money on something you didn't even care about. So, having that attention to the little things on the inside as well goes a long way to making sure that you're building that value in your agency and having something that you're proud of at the end of the day.
Yeah, well, in fact, it's not little things at all. It seems like it might be little details, but it ends up being, if we're being honest, the retention of a book is far more impactful than writing new business. So if you can't get that part right, and that's delivering on the promise of what you said you were going to do, those little things become pretty huge swings in the performance of an agency. No question about that. That's right. I love that. So you said that he was open-minded. Tell me some other ways that you feel maybe the organization or the operation of the agency is open or different or unique. Like, tell me your thoughts on that.
Yeah, so I'd say a few different things. One being, we have high expectations for ourselves. We're not putting unrealistic expectations on each other. We're having high expectations of our own selves. So I want to point out that difference. We find that the people who fit the best in our team have an innate sense of, I'm going to give my best to whatever I do. And that's something that we really look for when we're hiring, because you can't teach that. It's either in you or it's not in you. And so we work really hard to build our team culture in a way that supports that type of personality. And at the same time, we recognize that personality comes with its own sets of tendencies towards overwork and burnout. And stretching yourself too thin, saying yes to everything. So we work really hard to balance that. One of our core values, one is deliver excellence. Another one is take care of yourself and others. So we really were careful to put that take care of yourself first, because it's like the oxygen mask, right? You got to put that on yourself before you can take care of others. So that team culture is something that we really focus on. We're also very open-minded to exploring new technologies that are coming on the market and able to be used to streamline, to automate, to simplify, to improve the experience, all of those things that are out there. We've worked really hard to put together recently a policy for AI that says we want to explore this, but we recognize this is kind of the Wild West and there are some inherent dangers. So we're not just going to be willy-nilly throwing everything out there to uploading all kinds of data to who knows where. We're going to be intentional about that. We're going to be smart about it. We're going to respect and safeguard our customers' private data, not just send it all out to ChatGPT, right? So we put some guardrails in place to help us with that sort of thing. And then also we've really focused on the strength of relationships within our clients as well as in centers of influence in our community, lenders, real estate agents, other business partners out there that we serve mutual clients. And strengthening those relationships has been very important for us.
I absolutely love that you quoted your agency values. I think that is, there's a lot of agencies that we talk to that they don't even have them. So I think that that's really important that you are able to quote them offhand. And also you're saying, because of this value, we built this way. I think that that's so incredibly important. And one of the other things that you said is you guys are really open to testing out new technologies. There is no better state association in the country than for you to be part of, with INC having 101 Weston Labs come through. Have you tested any of the companies that have come through there?
Yes, actually. So one of our favorite companies that we work with is KAI, and they were part of a round that worked through Weston Labs, and they've been fantastic in helping us. What really sets them apart in my mind is they have clearly explained each step of the process for onboarding us and a timeline, and they met their timeline. And the thing does what they said it would do. Crazy that they're doing what they said they're going to do in the time that they say they're going to do. But socially, my experience usually is it takes 3 times as long and it does a third of what they say.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think great job.
I think just like what you said earlier, that your reputation is going to get around in the community, whether that's a good reputation or a bad reputation. So are you going to put effort into making it a good one or a bad one? Seems like these guys have put effort and structure into making it a good one. So I'm really glad that's working out for them. That's great to hear though. But so the other thing that you said was you have made very intentional to create relationships both inside your agency with your employees and protecting them, but also outside your agency. Can you tell us a little bit of those relationships outside, what that looks like?
Yeah. So our agency has a few different specialty areas of focus in addition to general business and personal insurance. We have a specialty working with commercial agriculture, particularly poultry growers, as well as the self-storage industry for facility owners and managers. So there are actually lending partners, so banks out there that specialize in those exact same industries. And they are working with clients that are great fits for us. We have aligned goals where the lender needs the insurance to close the loan. And a lot of times the end consumer, the person that's closing the loan, sometimes they're getting into this for the first time and they don't know who they should be reaching out to. They have maybe their personal insurance agent, and that person may or may not know or have the resources to really serve their needs well. So we position ourselves as a great referral partner for our lenders and help them look good by saying, hey, these are the types of coverage that are relevant to your business. We would encourage you to make sure that your policies have this. Now, banks can't coerce or direct someone that they have to work with us, but they can give a list of choices. And so we try to make sure that we're at the top of the list at least, right?
Yeah.
So we've even put together like cheat sheets for lenders that says, hey, these are the common things that you want to have conversations about. We've done the same thing for real estate agents that have a specialty focus in the same industries to say, these are the talking points. Just to educate them on here's the process. Many people think it's like Geico, right? 15 minutes can save you 15% or more. And for business insurance, you can't do that in 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And oftentimes a loan will get right down to the wire, and the insurance is the thing that no one thought about until the night before closing, and it's a panic. So we've tried to build these strong relationships with our lenders to say, let's educate you on the process. Here's what underwriting looks like. These are the types of details that we need to have an efficient underwriting process. So the more you can help us, the more we can help you. And ultimately, everybody wins in that case.
It's funny as you're describing this, I think in risk, I think in value, I think in, I can't even help myself. I need to stop that because when I listen, that's all I can hear and think, but it's how I'm wired. But if you think about the traditional structure of an agency where, you have producers that hunt, you've got account managers that protect, you've got service that services. And, you guys are a little bit different than that. You have relationship driven people. And when I think about risk, I think about it differently inside your agency. I mean, the consistency with which you can operate, given the structure that you guys have embraced, has to be different. I mean, it has to be, but only if those are not like concentrated relationships with one person or one thing. So what does that look like with you? How do you make sure those relationships are wide inside your agency?
Yeah, so we have teams that all work together. So we have an inside sales team, we have our account management team, we have our outside sales team, and within those teams, there are point people that have really dedicated to learning certain industries in particular. And then we try to, of course, cross-train so that there's redundancy. So everybody needs to take a vacation every now and then, right? And the whole world's going to have to stop.
Yeah, heck yeah.
So we are intentional about bringing in people to work on career pathing, to work in mentorship type roles among our team so that we have a good balance between specific expertise and then the ability to cross-train and provide redundancy as well.
Yeah, I love that. I got to know. So Lindsay talked about the tech thing, and I my first love was technology. That's the place that I started, and I'm super excited about 101 Weston Labs and the insight that provides me from being involved, and also provides agents to have an influence on what that technology is. So is there any technology that's on the cusp of being brought into your agency that you're thinking about? Or is there anyone that you're like, I don't know? Like, I'd love to hear like what's next on the docket, and who is it inside your agency that drives that adoption? Is it you? Is it somebody else? Is it a team of people? What does that look like?
Yeah. So when we recently rolled out the AI policy, one of the things that we designated is the point person for making the final determination on whether this is a product that we're going to introduce or veto.
Yeah.
And so that is me, but I do that in a collaborative way. So our journey toward automation and AI started about a year and a half ago. And we sat down with our team. Actually, I did a survey first. I surveyed our team. Then we had a sit-down meeting to analyze the findings of the survey. But we looked at what are all the pain points? What are the things that feel like there's got to be a faster way to do the thing that I'm doing? Or why is this so hard? Or I wish I had more time to do this, but instead I'm having to do that. So we made our list so that we could identify, when we're looking at solutions that are out there, make sure we're solving the right problem. You don't need to implement technology just for the sake of saying you did it. It's not to make you look cool, right? You should actually be within the needle solving a problem.
Yes.
It's always difficult. There's always a learning curve, and you have to break old habits and learn new habits. So let's make sure that you have the buy-in from your team on they can see that the end result is going to be worth the aggravation of learning how to use the thing. And so then once we got some feedback on that, then I started really having my antenna up to be looking, listening, researching for potential solutions. We came across a lot of good resources through IIANC at the Insure Expo. You probably also get a ton of marketing emails from random companies that are just trying to announce themselves. And then, of course, asking our peer groups and masterminds, both inside insurance as well as just general business connections that we have to learn about things that are out there. Superhuman AI is a newsletter that's kind of cool. If you haven't looked at that before, it comes out at least once a week, and it's always got some little tidbit in there of something new, or gives a prompt as a use case that gets you turning your wheels on how you could use a particular tool. That's been really helpful. But once we identify that we think we have an opportunity to try something out, then we ask for some beta testers. And those are different people at different times, depending on workload at the time or the use case of the tool or whatever the circumstances might be. But I try to get at least 3 people that are committed to trying something for a period of time to give me their feedback. Most recently, we ran so we use RingCentral for our phone system. And they recently rolled out a feature where there's an AI note taker. And it's like, that could be interesting. Let's see what it's like. And after using it for a couple of weeks among our beta testers, the feedback was it's not quite there yet. So some of the details it didn't quite capture, or it just wasn't comprehensive enough to feel like you could really rely on it. And so the decision was, we're going to set that aside for now. But technology is technology. Something that's not great yet, 6 months from now might be amazing. So, we want to continue to have that open mind of maybe periodically revisit and try again and keep our eyes open.
Absolutely. The speed at which things are progressing right now is just exponential. I mean, there are things that we've used. For example, we have our morning team meetings, and it's Zoom is what we do them on, because it has the Zoom what's
AI.
it called, Mom? Yeah. The Zoom AI that summarizes your meeting and sends out action items. And at first, they really weren't that accurate. They were like, they would get some things right, but they would say, like, Lindsay needs to go let her dog out if I was like talking about my dog, or like it would say like random things. And as we've progressed, I've noticed it's gotten more and more accurate. I also think it's like it needed to get to learn our team a little bit, because we all kind of joined, right around the same time. So it went from a team meeting of 2 to 3 people to a team meeting of 5 to 6. So it really was like, wait, hang on a second. Like, what are all you people doing here? Like, who are you all, So that's been super helpful. I enjoy testing out new things. And I think that I'm actually subscribed to that Superhuman. I don't know if you're the one who told me about it or someone, but I was just looking through my email because I was like, I think I've heard of that before. Yeah, that one's a good one.
It is.
Well, what I loved is, as soon as I asked you the question, who makes the decision, and you said it was you, what went into my brain is, oh goodness, anybody listening to this podcast is now going to spam you because you're the one that, I'm so sorry if that happens, but I love that it's a team approach, like it is not a top-down decision. It's feedback from the people who are actually going to utilize this tool, because so often, I mean, if I'm being real, I don't do the same job as the people on my team. And if I'm trying to help them be more efficient, I already told you, I love tech. So I'm going to say, hey, these are some great, cool things we should use. And if it doesn't change their day, then what's the point? And so I think that's a trap that a lot of people fall into, because it sounds good. Other agents are using it. But the reality is your structure versus someone else's structure could be significantly different. And that same tool could be really impactful in one situation and not at all in the other. So I love that you use a team approach and you use multiple viewpoints, and it's not the same people all the time. I mean, how fantastic for your team that they get the opportunity to do that, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've had good feedback from them. They appreciate being included and getting a chance to have a say in the process. And then the great thing too is when we vet something and it passes the test and we're ready to move forward, there's already some champions that are really great point people for the rest of the team who might have questions along the way. So it shares the load of that as well.
Yeah.
Love that. Absolutely love it. Well, I love also that you highlight, the structure of an agency is not a one size fits all. It can look and feel completely different. I love how you came up through the agency. And, I have a really good friend. I don't know if you know her, but her name's Beth De La Forest, where she was the receptionist and she's now the owner of the agency. And her story is just amazing. And she's an incredible leader. So I love hearing that. And that your owner gave a pathway to ownership to the operations person, not just the traditional people generating revenue. So hats off. That's amazing.
Yes.
I would love if someone wants to reach out to you. They're like, man, she said something that I'd really like to connect with her. I would love to put your contact information in here and continue the conversation with anybody if that's cool with you.
Of course.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming on our show and being our guest, Jessica. And we look forward to seeing you in North Carolina at the next Big I event. How about that?
Yes, I look forward to seeing y'all then as well. And in the meantime, we'll keep in touch. Thanks for having me today.
Thanks so much for tuning in to the Insurance Refocused podcast. If you enjoyed the episode, please be sure to hit subscribe and leave us a review so you'll never miss us. Want to learn more about how Agency Focus can help you grow your agency? Head to agency-focus.com or email Carey directly at carey@agency-focus.com. If you need to get in touch with me, feel free to shoot me an email at lindsay@agency-focus.com. Thanks so much for tuning in. We'll see you next week.